Good morning, students and all aspirants. Very good morning and a happy Sunday. Today we have a professional and a great webinar by two of our bright minds from Educati. The first one, let me introduce Manikumar Adari. He is presently working as software engineer at Amazon. He is one of the greatest minds in the 2014 batch of computer science engineering who has achieved his internship right there in Amazon and has now landed there in his destiny, Amazon, and now striving for his own future. He is also interested to help the juniors who want a good career in computer science engineering. We are also lucky to have juniors Sai Prasad Kaustika, who has achieved All India Gate 37th rank in computer science engineering and has studied in IIT Bombay and now working for Microsoft. CRA, welcome you both of you. Friends, today's topic is what it takes to work in tech product companies. Listen carefully and clear all your doubts from these great minds. Manikumar, over to you.
Yep. Hey guys, let me, I'll just basically add one more point. Basically, I'll just talk about my interest, basically specific to like engineering aspects of large scale machine learning applications and distributed computing area. So Sai, would you, and then I also, besides Amazon, I also worked for one startup, like right after my college for 1 year. And so Sai, would you like to add anything else?
Yeah, same here. So I am more interested towards problem solving. So I chose software engineer will suit me. Yeah, we can continue.
Yeah. Sure. All right. So before starting the session, I'd like to share some common and interesting facts, but about like Sai and me. So basically, we both failed in like one subject in engineering first year. So we were like average students during like our intermediate because of like a focus on like non-academic subjects mostly. And then the reason, I mean, look, I can actually hide these facts and then like portray as if like we were like toppers and then the bright minds during our college. But we just want to be very like transparent before the session itself. And also there's a more largely due to the current pandemic situation, because I know that like it's not an ideal situation. Graduates, students, and new grads are most impacted by the pandemic. It's because like I remember like the day when I joined my first company, I had a lot of passion, and then I like worked on like I tried to work on as many like projects as possible, and I learned a lot of things in that aspect. But I mean, like I can easily understand that like there is a like a very limited number of like opportunities for new grads at this point. But the reason why we shared these things is basically, I mean, it's okay to be not ideal at some time, and then even like it's always possible to actually at any point of your life, like once the like it's always possible for you to actually turn around your career and then focus on the make an impact like for your family, and then the that's and then like another good thing is basically I can see a lot of positivity also like nowadays. There's like a lot of high tech adoption from people of all age groups. Especially a lot of businesses are moving to technology, and then because of this pandemic situation, a lot of like oldest people and different like people from different age groups are also like using tech like nowadays. And then recently I had a news that like Baizu like acquired like 300 million, like one 18 months old edtech startup for $300 million. I never had that kind of actually news in the startup ecosystem, and then it's a good sign. Slowly, like each and like most of domains will move to tech, and then like there's going to be a lot of like demand for the tech industry for the next 10 years. And you can easily see that like there is going to be like AAs and artificial intelligence is actually like automating a lot of trivial jobs. And then for instance like transportation, like self-driving systems are like giving very good results. Basically because of that, it creates like some sort of like demand for the like innovators and the problem solvers in the tech industry. And then like if you also like think about like computing side, there are like recent progress on the quantum computing, and then decentralized computing nowadays. So these are like computing paradigms like that. They will change some of the fundamentals of the systems that we use nowadays, and then it can also potentially create more opportunities for the like engineers to actually contribute. And then, like I said, so because of like a lot of tech adoption, I can see that like there's going to be more challenges in terms of scaling and the complexity in the tech industry. So, and then before we move forward, I just want to highlight one point here is that basically don't like assume that like tech is only for CSC students. It's always possible for any graduate to actually like join tech industry and then make an impact. So okay. Agenda for this meeting is to actually explain the work culture at the tech product-based companies. We'll just explain the roles and nature of work, and then also like instead of actually boring you with most of theoretical details, we also want to actually demonstrate. We'll explain demonstrate the like each and every aspect of the product development with an example project. And then there are a lot of other important topics to discuss about computer science, but like GATE CSC preparation, like cracking coding interviews and all that. So like we will be scheduling follow-up sessions based on the your feedback. We somehow feel that all like students at some when I was graduate, I didn't have much exposure on the kind of work that like engineers do in real industry. So because of that, we just want to we want to actually start with this we want to talk about the work, and then basically getting a good job is one aspect, and then like growing in that job is another different aspect. So that's why actually it's always important for you to actually understand the actual work that you do in software companies. So that's why we'll be focusing on that. And then all right, so there are like in software industry, like there are software service-based companies and product-based companies. I hope most of you are aware of the distinction between these two companies. So on a high level, service-based companies usually actually build like solutions for customers, and then requirements will directly come from one customer, and then they like build products for that customer mostly. Wherein in product-based companies, they build like generic products for all customers, and then they actually let like multiple customers use the same product and then like improve that product in a generic terms. And then both have like equal challenges, but in this talk we'll be mostly covering about product-based companies. So product-based companies, like I said, like there is no I don't agree with the statement that only like top companies are like making an impact in the product-based industry. Like in fact, like a lot of startups and then the like big tech companies, most of them, both of them have like different set of challenges. And then so startups basically like there's like a lot of tech startups nowadays that are actually solving like new problems. And then this similarly, even big tech companies also like actually solving like large enterprise problems and then new customer new like problems as well. So for example, like Google, Microsoft, Amazon are like one of like few of like some of like top companies in the like product-based industry. And then from roles, basically there are like software engineering role, usually engineers from computer science background, and then engineers from any background usually join as a software engineer during the start of their career. And then slowly like you can actually switch to software engineering manager based on your interest, or else you can actually continue growing in the software engineering like roles as well. So both have equal challenges, like again from a management perspective and then the like engineering perspective. So as you grow level by level in the software engineering, so you'll be mostly focusing providing like technical strategy for businesses, wherein managers actually manage both technical strategy and the project management related aspects. So and then there's also like another area like product management, wherein product managers work with customers and then define the requirements for the products, and then actually it's also a very complex area in my opinion. Usually people who do executive MBA like with some tech background, so usually like work as the product managers. And then like it's possible that some companies might not have some of these roles. In fact, like if you are working in a startup, you might not even have like managers, product managers, and software like development managers. So like these are all like roles that were defined by for organizational purposes. And again, you don't have to limit to one specific aspect of the project. So ideally, you should actually an engineer is expected to work one project end to end, and then deliver business impact for an organization. So typically there will be like engineers design, implement, test and release and maintain software systems. That's the same, that's the common across both service-based and product-based companies. Again, like I said, so there are no fixed set of guidelines and methodologies that you need to follow during your job. As long as you are actually like delivering value and then uh, focusing on the project delivery aspect, that should actually suffice. All right. So, like I said before, we'll start with this. We'll actually remainder of the section. We will actually cover those details with an example like project. Again, this is a very generic project that we took from internet. Basically, like if you look into this project, so the statement of the idea of the project is to actually build personalized trending products for an e-commerce site. For instance, if you open any like e-commerce websites, like this is the image that we got it from Snapdeal. So like usually there will be a bunch of like trending products that you can see in the home page. So personalized, yeah, okay. So trending basically usually like you can define like top selling products in last 2 weeks, like last 6 weeks as the trending products. And then usually this trending products usually display in homepage visits, emails, and then notifications, to your users. And then there is a personalization aspect also. Basically, like if you look into this, based on the user interaction history with the website, you can actually recommend products with high likelihood of purchase. For instance, here, if you look into this, like I viewed certain kitchen furniture items and then a few like cotton t-shirts. So here, and then trending this particular visit showed me actually like some of these products, trending products between in those categories. So basically here the personalization is actually it actually, it's based on my previous history with the site, and then those that history can be views, purchases, or add to cart, and then it can be across multiple combinations as multiple attributes as well. For instance, color, gender, category, as for instance, like men's jeans with blue color is one combination of multiple attributes. Here, if you look into this, here men cotton t-shirt is a one such combination. So you need to design a system, build a system that actually records all the interaction history and then suggest recommendations in the trending products list. And then again, there are additional details for this particular project, like fairness and then variety. You need to have a good distribution of products. Let's say if I see like 10 jeans products, like if you just show me only jeans products in my home page, like in most every project, every product that I see in the home page, it will be specific to jeans. So ideally, there should be a mix of variety across products in the website. And then there is also a cold start problem. So yeah, these are all requirements. Usually product managers define these requirements and share it with engineers. And then if you are a startup, you as an engineer, you will be mostly working with customers and then define these requirements. And then also even though you have product managers, you get these requirements. It's always better to revisit these details at a low level, because you are the one who are going to, as a software engineer, you are the one who are going to design and implement systems for it. It's always better to actually challenge and think as if you are gathering the requirements. And then other requirements could be these are all functional requirements that I talked about, and there could be non-functional requirements also. For instance, yeah, actually this number is correct. I'll correct it. Basically, there can be 100 billion read requests per month if you are a large company, right? And then there can be let's say for instance 1 billion transactions per month. Transactions are user events, previous events, and let's say if there are 10 million products. So these are all non-functional requirements, because you need to build a system according to these scaling aspects, scalability aspects. And then let's say if you are an early stage startup, you might not have these much scalability requirements, but if you are a large company with like a large enterprise customers, you might need to actually have like design a system for this much scale. Yeah, let me just move forward. Yeah. So usually right after requirements, like engineers like work on the project planning. So they define mockups. Let's say if your application has UI components, you need to define mockups. And then like after that, you need to define iterations for projects based on the requirements. Usually like nowadays, a lot of companies are identifying minimum viable product, right? You need to identify MVP, bare minimum thing that you can provide to customer, and then based on the customer feedback that you get, you need to slowly iterate or pivot your product to actually meet the customer requirement. So like the problem is basically if you are like your team define set of have certain set of assumptions and then build a product, it might not be like well received by customers, because customers is like it's much larger like distribution. It can happen that your assumptions can fail. So in such scenarios, usually it's always better to build a minimalistic product MVP, and then define metrics, and then monitor customer usage, and then yeah, improve, pivot your product based on that. So we like usually in software engineering, we call that as like lean development or agile development, and then so you're expected to actually design like come up with iterations for it. And then also, for instance, as a part of your project, you need to it will be helpful if you design like if you actually define success criteria. For instance, like metrics could be like number of use and purchases through these trending products, and then the latencies like SLAs, service level agreements for your features. For instance, if you see you can define the latency for trending products read request. For instance, if your home page has that visit, if you actually take if your system is giving around like 10 milliseconds or 15 milliseconds, it might not be, it will be a bad customer experience. Ideally, if you are providing real-time functionality, it should be in the order of milliseconds. And then other thing could be like for this project, there could be a refresh interval. For instance, for every experiments, if you are refresh, like for every 5 minutes, if you refresh the trending products, that kind of thing that you need to clarify since the beginning itself with the all project stakeholders. Again, these are like very I mean, usually these projects take months, and then I definitely I won't be able to cover like all like in-depth details of the project management here. I'll just give you very high level details, and then I'll move forward. This is basically to give like high level idea to audience here. So, and then once you get this particular requirements, you need to actually as a software engineer usually design a system to for this to actually create this to complete this functionality. So usually this design, again, it varies based on the nature of company. For instance, if you are a startup, like if you are working for a startup, then you might focus on the product more and then less focus on the design. For instance, you might even probably spend few days and then design and then start the implementation. This is perfectly fine in my opinion, because for startups and then in a like highly competitive like environment, you need to actually speed matters a lot. You need to actually build things fast, and then it's okay to fail early, and then in that way you'll be actually getting more feedback. And then basically they think about like usually startups, at least the startups think about availability and scalability slowly with user growth, because there is an uncertainty about the customers that they get, right? Basically, and then it's always better to build something and then get the feedback, and then slowly like think about scalability, availability aspects separately. But again, it's again, don't take it for granted. You need to actually, it's a trade-off. You always you're expected to maintain some quality in the design, even if you are working for a startup, because if you build a solution that's not even like working well for like small set of customers, then I don't that's a bad it will actually result in failure of the like product. So, and then usually you'll get startups, you'll be mostly focusing on end-to-end exposure, and then big companies like stakes of failing the product are high, because they already work with large enterprise customers, and then there's also competition for big companies as well. So they will emphasize on availability and scalability of the product since the beginning itself. So I'll just give high-level details of the design here, for instance, for this project. Again, I don't go into, I don't want to go into in-depth details. For instance, for this particular project, it can happen that you can define two services, right? One for the tracking all the user events, and then store all those events in the like some kind of acknowledge storage, right? And then there'll be, you can even define another service that will actually reads the okay, let me just share this here. Yeah, you can define another service that to provide the personalized trending products. And then there will be another component that trends aggregator. Basically, client could be home page, right? It will like store all the user events, for instance, views, purchase, and add to cart information to the event store, and then some kind of data about the user to this recommendation store. And then this trends aggregator, it runs on like periodic interval, and then actually store all the recommendations in the recommendation store. And then this personalization services basically can have like a certain functionality like get trending products, and then it can read the trending products and then the user data, and then it can provide the personalized the trending products back to the client. So these clients could be like, let's say, it could be a web browser, it could be the component that is responsible for sending notifications, right? So, and then like here, usually in a high-level architecture, you will be defining components, and then the interactions between these components. For instance, here there are like databases, two data stores, and two services, and one workflow kind of like a synchronous system. And then just a second, sorry. Yeah, and then again, in the low-level design could be basically each service can have a list of APIs. For instance, record view event and record add to cart event. So that could be an API. And then usually APIs are synchronous, so immediately they should actually provide like a millisecond level latency, because end customers depend on those like functionalities directly. For instance, viewing the trending products and then recording events, all of them will impact the customer experience directly, usually. And then also they are like lightweight operations, so you can model them as APIs. And then each API, basically each service will have a set of APIs, and then APIs will have fixed set of contract about the input and output of the API, the use case that it is providing. And then again, there can be, it's possible that like you might have to build systems that are asynchronous in nature, wherein it needs like they might like consume more time to actually complete the functionality. For instance, trending products generation, for every 5 minutes, it actually it's a asynchronous system, because it could be possible that within 5 minutes you might have let's say 100 million events, right, views. Let's say if there is a sale going on, it could be 100 million is a very big number. Let's say it could be, let's say, a few millions, right? So in order to actually compute trending products out of that, update trending products out of that interaction history, is also like it involves a lot of data. And then you need to design some kind of asynchronous mechanism to actually aggregate like all these trending products out of that events, and then update the recommendation store. So usually people like engineers design like workflows, like asynchronous workflows are the some kind of big data jobs to actually populate those trending products. For instance, yeah, so that's pretty much it. And then like, in fact, for this use case, MapReduce works perfect because you can define key value pairs. I mean, you can just like read about MapReduce in general. So you can define key value pairs for each like product, and then define counters. And then after that, like you're also expected to like design the schema for the database store, all the fields and tables that you need to, and the relations between those fields, you might have to design that also as a part of this project. And then there'll be, based on the project, like low-level design details can vary. For instance, ranking function is very important, because like the way for this particular for trending product, personalized trending products generation, because let's say if you provide, let's say, 2 products in chains, right? And then let's say if the next product also trending product is also gene, we cannot actually provide only genes trending products to the user. Let's say here one of the requirement is variety. So one possible idea is to actually apply exponential decay on the trending score that you have based on the based for each category based on the previous list. So if you do that, you'll get like mix of results because you'll be decaying the score of like each category based on the already populated list, right? So that kind of details, algorithmic details, are in fact sometimes like details that you are expected to solve it during the design phase itself. That will be better, because if you realize the like mistakes or the like wrong assumptions during the implementation phase, it might be too much late. And then, like I said, so again, scalability, for instance, here you need to think about scalability during the design phase itself. For instance, if there is some sale going on, and then let's say if for a same product, for instance, maybe for some TV, right? If there are like 10 million purchases in a hour, like probably maybe what other way could be basically, let's say if there are 100K purchases for a mobile phone in a minute, right? So if you design a like typical like database like for the counters for the trending products, right? If you design, that's usually like I see that like a lot of entry level engineers, they build like one SQL table and then create a counter record for each of the product, right? So if you do that, basically what happens is each updating a counter for each product is a transactional operation, right? And then usually if you perform the transaction on a single record, let's say if there are 100K purchases for a same product within a minute, and then like usually transactions takes locks at a record level, right? And then like these 100K like updates are going to compete for each other, and then you'll never be actually able to fulfill like or update the counters within the reasonable time, because usually most of databases actually lock records for each update. And then if you actually, there's no way that you can actually update like 100K one product 100K times using a single record. So that's a bad design, because that will limit your scale of your system, right? So you need to consider, I'm just giving you one of this example. There can be more scenarios, like failure scenarios. So like I won't go into those details, but these things are actually introduces like new challenges for software engineers in terms of like scalability. Basically, these involves the some level of knowledge of distributed computing. Like I said here, it could be possible that like if you design a system, right, you need to like I said, there's a locking and like the database the concept. You need to have an understanding of like how transactions work in your distributed database systems, and those things you need to be aware of those details. So that's why over the time, like you need to learn distributed computing as a software engineer. And then other thing, like the reason why I said distributed is basically, let's say if you have I'll just give a very hypothetical example, right? So let's say if you have within 5 minutes, if you have, let's say 1 billion user events for a website, right? And then in order to actually read all of them, it will take a lot of time. Let's say if you have one like thread or one node that is reading all those 1 billion events, there's no way that you can actually read in 5 minutes and update counters in 5 minutes. Here you need to actually have multiple nodes reads concurrently and then update it. So that's a perfect example of distributed computing, because you need to design a system that can scale well horizontally, and then you add more and more nodes, and then all those nodes actually perform these trending products generation concurrently and then update them. So that's one of the example of distributed computing use case. I'll let Sai cover next section, coding. Yeah, Sai, you can take over.
Yeah, thanks Mani for building all the foundation about our project by explaining requirements gathering, project planning and design of the product. So now let's talk about implementation, which is coding and also testing. So we all know that programming languages are the way we interact with the systems for implementation. And these programming languages are evolving day by day. And but one thing I wanted to emphasize is we usually get a few messages from juniors asking like, what are the important programming languages to get a job? So basically there is no specific language. So these languages actually vary according to the companies, and even in a company it can vary according to the teams and use cases. Along with programming languages, software engineers should be very familiar with these high-level programming constraints like data structures, object-oriented design, multi-threading, and memory management. Just to give you an idea, so in the project we are considering there is a trends aggregator, right? So it will fetch the objects from event store, and it will aggregate the results and create the results for this trending products. So instead of having a single thread, we can have like multiple threads for each category, such that we will do this process much faster by using this parallel programming, by using multi-threading. Yes. Other than that, let's see what are the things to consider while writing a production level code. So it's not like you are doing an individual project, right? So coding conventions. In industry, multiple people might be working on same code base. It's not just you. So there will be many people who will read your code in future. So having a common convention is very important. So, and there are so many coding conventions are following, and each company is following a different convention according to their requirement. So in case if your current team is not following any convention, try to take initiation and suggest one which is a really good idea. And you can also refer this book, Clean Code, which talks more about the writing clean code. Let's talk about robustness. So robustness is like make sure your code should work for all cases. Let's say in this trend aggregator, let's say in any e-commerce site, like let's say Flipkart or something, if there is a trending product, there is a chance that that product might go out of stock because it is a trending product. Many people might actually buy the product. So once it got out of stock, we should make sure we should not display that product in our trending section. So this is one of the corner cases. So we should make sure our system support these kind of corner cases. And extendability. So to explain extendability, as Mani said, in tech companies they prefer lean development. So they will develop a bare minimum version of the product for the market, because there will be so many generic users for that product. So, and based on the feedback from the customer, so they'll put their efforts on the features of the product which has more requirement, basically, instead of building the whole product. Let's say in our product we are morely focused towards creating a trend designer, right? So maybe in future people are asking like a add to cart option, maybe they are asking like a user sign up and everything. So these all are required for the in future to build a complete e-commerce site. So we will start with our bare minimum product and add the feature accordingly. So our code should be flexible to support this kind of extendability. And programming principles. So programming principles may look like theory, but in general, this is what makes you a better developer. There are so many basic programming principles out there. Just to give you an understanding, we will explain a premature optimization. Let's see this trend aggregator. So let's say for example there are two optimization technique to design this trend aggregator, so which is displayed over the screen. Let's say when the first optimization technique is taking like 50 milliseconds, and the code for that one is a simple 100 lines of code, which is a simple optimization technique, let's say. And there is another complex optimization technique which is doing the optimization in just 47 milliseconds. And the code for that one is, let's say, some thousands of lines. So now you should know whether you should go for this 50 milliseconds code or 47 milliseconds. So basically, there is completely there is an advantage of 3 milliseconds by going with the complex optimization. But life is not simple. So this complex code also come at a cost of maintenance, increase in memory, and it can cause slowness in the system. So there is a trade-off. So you should know when to go for the complete optimization. So this is one of the programming principles. And let's talk about testing. So testing is as important as development. So testing will help us to know the regression bugs before the customer even face it. Like there is no way like we will get to know these bugs other than testing. There are so many approaches in testing. Again, so just to give you understanding, we will talk about an example like TDD, which is known as a test-driven development. So yeah, again, to explain this using our project, let's go with the same example. Like we wanted to make sure that trending product should not have a product which is out of cost, right? So So what this test driven development will actually look like is we will develop the test cases for the feature which we are going to implement, and we will develop the product next afterwards. So let's say for the products which for the feature which we are focusing, like which is uh, not showing trending products in the trending not showing the products which are out of stock in the trending sessions. So we can have use cases like this out of stock can happen like multiple ways, like if the product is really bought by many customers such that it will become out of stock, and there might be some cases like where the seller itself reduced the stock of his items. So basically there might be some offline cases where he might sell. Yeah, so we will develop test cases for that, and after doing the development we will test again these test cases which we developed in the initial stage, such that we will get to know whether our development is working or not. This is one of the good principle where they usually follow in agile development, especially in database systems. Yeah, let's talk about design patterns. So actually design patterns are not required during the start of the career. These are very required when you are having a this might be helpful after a few years of experience. So what exactly these design patterns are? So like in the object oriented design, there might be classes which has there so much reusability for the objects. So and the calling functions for these objects might be of having various different parameters. So we should design our system such that it should support this reusability and everything. So yeah, these design patterns talk about that, which is also very important in our coding. Yeah, this concludes our project related discussions about everything, like all the phases of project. And after developing and testing this product, usually release managers will take this product to customers. Yeah, now let's talk about some common questions we get from juniors. So we usually get mails asking about these questions, like what are few good technologies to learn, what are good programming languages to get job easily, as I mentioned earlier. And they'll also ask about how do I manage my time efficiently in college, and how do I crack coding interviews. So basically, one thing we wanted to say is that there are already enough knowledge base or enough support from internet to the computer science folks about these coding interviews and everything. So the only thing which the current market is expecting from new graduate students is problem solving skills, especially, and coding, which also known as competitive coding, innovation, and ownership. So you should take ownership of the whatever product you are developing. It's not like you are working for money, and your implementation should actually can able to deliver the actual result. Yeah, as we mentioned earlier, there are no particular rules or learning methodologies to learn all these things. It's just good passion and utilizing the skills properly. So there are no set of methodologies. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. I'll take Mani take over to explain soft skills.
Sure. Yeah, let me. I think we are already short of time, so I'll just quickly explain a few things that are really required when you are actually starting your career. One of the things that I noticed is basically when you are a new hire, right? So it's possible that sometimes you might have less confidence because you don't have much exposure to the end-to-end things. But it's very important to be very confident since the start of your career as well. Basically, the thing is, I usually follow this particular quote from Steve Jobs, wherein it's basically like there is no rule book. Like everything was defined by people, like previous people, based on their understanding. You can always influence it and change it if you want. So, and then especially new grads, I see like a lot of out of the box thinking, and then innovation, because they'll be unbiased towards the like particular assumptions. So it's possible that they can actually, their suggestions can also like make a good impact. So just always be confident since the beginning, and then you'll like just you need to respect your like knowledge and the judgments, and only then you can be able to make an impact, actually have a successful you can be able to deliver successful products. And then other thing is basically like skill set. I just want to highlight basically one thing that's very common nowadays is basically like, unfortunately, these marketing and education companies, educational institutes are actually creating some courses based on the trends, which is perfectly fine. But for students, I would suggest like avoiding head mentality, because like if you want to actually like if you spend your time on the like one of the technology that's buzzing at that time, it's possible that by the time you graduate, it might be outdated. So one of the safest option is being as generic as possible. For instance, if you ask me like what are my specializations, I would say none. Because I don't want to limit myself to one specific technology or one specific problem area. Because it depends, like you can never guess, because how this industry will evolve. So it's possible that like new problem spaces can come in, and then new technologies might come in. So you should always have a like learning mindset to actually adapt to these changes. So, and then also it's very important to make right career options, because it can happen that like if you like start your career with one specific technology, and then it will seriously limit your it can seriously limit your like growing opportunities as well. So given that we are talking about the growth, right, I just want to highlight few things. Like other industries, software industry especially, one thing that I'm realizing nowadays is like there's no like it's the seniority is not well defined between in the software industry. And then I saw like most of examples, like most of people who got promoted to high ranks during the young age only. It's basically most of companies are like promoting, also encouraging that culture, because you promotions and everything, like growth happens based on the impact that is generated, along with your years of experience. It's basically a trade-off. Like it doesn't mean that like if you are staying idle and doing like less work, doing less impact for like 10 years, you'll be promoted. It's not the case. Basically, you need to generate an impact, and then the number of years of experience is just a number. It will but usually like everything is data driven. Like the more you generate the impact for the organization, they will they will promote you to that level. So you need to you actually get this technical maturity by doing a lot of things. It's but you need to ensure that like you are involving in as many projects as possible and making as much impact as possible. Though your role is software engineer, but all companies work for common goal, wherein they want to actually provide better customer experience and then gain profit out of it, right? So in order to provide better customer experience, so like any employees at any level can innovate, and then contribute to that specific thing, contribute to customer success, right? So like I would suggest like involve in as like challenge the business decisions, challenge like technical strategy, and then always like initially you might have like limited options, but you always have that mindset to actually like generate more impact and build doing right things. And then other thing is like growth rate is very high. For instance, like I saw like few senior engineers like making lots of money like in like just with 10 years of experience. And then this is very important, because the growth is like more or less similar to exponential growth. It's also like you need to like basically nowadays there is a buzz thing that like people are judging based on the salary, and then making decisions based on the amount of money that they get. For instance, let's say if a college new grad, if he gets like 10 lakh offer and then 12 lakhs offer, and then like it's natural tendency that you might go with 12 lakhs offer. But what you need to do is like you need to actually evaluate from the long-term perspective. Let's say it's possible that the startup or the company that you are, the offer that you got for 10 lakhs, it can have tremendous growth. And then wherein other offer, like other role, you might not be, your challenge opportunities might be limited. So always thinking long term, because all this like compensations benefits that you get, like all the capitalization that you get out of the software industry is exponentially, it can grow exponentially. So the decisions that you make, initial decisions that you make during the start of your like a professional experience might impact the like all this influence these capitalization opportunities. And then, like I said, so always every day is a day one, right? These things evolve very fast, right? Very fastly, very quickly. You need to be like just don't keep any shortcuts. Be open-minded, and then learn from trends, and then learn from your past mistakes and experience. And then that is the primary thing that you need to keep in mind. Another thing is like over the time, if you as you grow in your job, it's possible that some of the aspects like abstract thinking might help, because like if you just think about this trending projects project, it's one level of feature. It can possible that like as a leader, like as a senior engineer, you might need to work for a very large project. And then if you actually think about like very low level details for that, it's like you will be like overloaded with too much information. You might not be able to make right decisions that influence the technical strategy, right? So you should always like try to get abstract thinking, since as much as possible you make high level decisions first, and then the filter like high level options first, and then slowly actually go to the next level. So that kind of abstract thinking is really helpful for the software industry. And like I said, the other thing is basically there are a lot of like areas and a lot of opportunities. Look, if you are innovating in your role, I mean, a lot of one thing that I noticed is like if companies are encouraging people to come up with simple and out of the box solutions. So if you actually, because the simple solutions can, even the small decisions or simple decisions that you make, they can generate like a lot of impact. So just like consider the soft skills. I mean, these are like you learn over the time. In fact, I'm learning throughout my like experience. So yeah, just like be open-minded about the like soft skills. Also, like if possible, if you have opportunities to learn these soft skills in your college only, right? You try to like learn these skills as well. Yeah, I think we almost took like 50 minutes. If you have any questions, we can answer now.
Yeah, students, you can raise your hand if you have any doubt, and can directly ask the speakers, or you can also type the question in the general chat session. Don't hesitate. Telugulo kuda adagొచ్చు. About 70 people ఉన్నారు. ఎవరైనా questions ఉంటే direct hand raise.
Hello, bro.
Yeah.
My name is Yasin.
Yasin,
నా క్వశ్చన్ ఏంటంటే అన్న మణి అన్న
Mani available?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, Yasin,
చెప్పండి.
అదేనా, మీరు స్టార్ట్ చేసిన జర్నీలో అమెజాన్ వరకు వెళ్ళారు కదా, ఆ జర్నీ ఎలా, అంటే ఏమేమి చేయాల్సి వచ్చింది,
బేసిక్ గా నేను నా కాలేజ్ థర్డ్ ఇయర్ లో లైక్ ఐ ఇంటర్న్ ఇన్ అమెజాన్. లైక్ ఒక కాంపిటీషన్ లో నేను పార్టిసిపేట్ చేశాను. ఆ కాంపిటీషన్ లో లైక్ నాకు ఫస్ట్ ప్రైజ్ వచ్చింది. దాని ద్వారా లైక్ అమెజాన్ ఇంటర్న్షిప్ వచ్చింది. రైట్ ఆఫ్టర్ దట్ ఇంటర్న్షిప్ like I couldn't get like a full-time offer because that like role is specific to research scientist. And then after that, like I joined a startup, and then like I learned a lot of things in that startup, right? Startup actually fourth engineer గా జాయిన్ అయ్యాను. అండ్ దెన్ ఇట్ స్కేల్ ఇది ఒక 40 ఇంజనీర్స్ వరకు స్కేల్ పెరిగింది. అండ్ దెన్ అది స్నాప్డీల్ అక్వైర్ చేసుకుంది స్టార్ట్అప్ ని. తర్వాత నాకు ఆ ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్ తో లైక్ ఐ గాట్ సమ్ మెంటల్ మీడియన్స్ వల్ల లైక్ ఐ థింక్ ఫ్యాక్ట్ ఏంటంటే లైక్ వితౌట్ ఎనీ ప్రిపరేషన్ ఐ వాజ్ ఏబుల్ టు క్రాక్ అమెజాన్. లైక్ ఈ మెచ్యూరిటీ దట్ ఐ లైక్ ఆ స్టార్ట్అప్ నుంచి నాకు వచ్చిన మెచ్యూరిటీ నుంచి లైక్ కాంపిటేటివ్ ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్ వల్ల నాకు లైక్ అమెజాన్ లో లైక్ లైక్ ఫుల్ టైమ్ జాబ్ లైక్ వితౌట్ ఎనీ ప్రిపరేషన్ నాకు వచ్చింది. ఇన్ఫాక్ట్ లైక్ బేసికల్ గా అదే చెప్తున్నా, అంటే లైక్ కాలేజ్ లో కూడా లైక్ ఇఫ్ యూఆర్ ఫోకస్ ఆన్ only thing that the most important thing that you should focus is like algorithmic problem solving. సో ఇప్పుడు కాంపిటేటివ్ ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ సైట్స్ ఉంటున్నాయి కదా, కోడ్ ఫోర్సెస్, కోడ్ చెఫ్, చాలా సైట్స్. సో వాటిలో లైక్ ఈ యూజువల్ గా అన్ని కంపెనీస్ ఏంటంటే అల్గారిథమిక్ ప్రాబ్లమ్ సాల్వింగ్ క్వశ్చన్స్ అడుగుతారు. లైక్ ఒక క్వశ్చన్ ఇచ్చి దానికి లైక్ ప్రాబ్లమ్ సాల్వ్ చేయమంటారు యూజింగ్ అల్గారిథమ్స్, అండ్ దెన్ కోడ్ ని ఇంప్లిమెంట్ చేయమంటారు. సో ఇది బేసిక్ గా కాంపిటేటివ్ ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ లో కూడా సేమ్ లైక్ ఎన్విరాన్మెంట్ ఉంటుంది. సో లైక్ కాంపిటేటివ్ ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ లో మీరు ఎక్కువ టైం స్పెండ్ చేయగలిగితే అది డెఫినెట్ గా లైక్ కోడింగ్ ఇంటర్వ్యూ క్రాక్ చేయడానికి యూజ్ అవుతుంది.
థ్యాంక్ యూ బ్రో. ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ సైడ్, కోడింగ్ సైడ్ కాకుండా ఇది కోడింగ్ ఇంట్రెస్ట్ లేని వాళ్ళు మరి ఏం చేయాలి బ్రో?
సాఫ్ట్వేర్ ఇంజనీరింగ్ అయితే డెఫినెట్ గా దర్ ఇస్ నో ఆల్టర్నేటివ్. కోడింగ్ అనేది కంపల్సరీ అవసరం, అండ్ దెన్ ప్రాబ్లమ్ సాల్వింగ్ ఆల్సో సమ్ లైక్ డిపెండ్స్ ఆన్ ద లెవెల్ అవసరం. ఒకవేళ నీకు కోడింగ్ ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ ఇంట్రెస్ట్ లేదు, నేను సాఫ్ట్వేర్ ఇంజనీర్ అవుతానంటే నో కంపెనీ విల్ హైర్ యూ. అది ఫ్యాక్ట్. సారీ అబౌట్ దట్. లైక్ ఐ థింక్ ఇంట్రెస్ట్ లేదు అనేది ఐ మీన్ డిపెండ్స్ ఆన్ లైక్ ఇఫ్ యూ ఆర్ ఇంట్రెస్టెడ్ ఇన్ మేనేజ్మెంట్ యూ కెన్ యాక్చువల్లీ ట్రై డూయింగ్ MBA. బట్ సాఫ్ట్వేర్ ఇంజనీర్ చేద్దాము అనుకుంటే it's always it's always good to actually take a step back and then revisit your priorities. Interest అనేది basic గా depends on the mentorship that you get, right, in your college. లైక్ వేరియస్ ఫ్యాక్టర్స్ పై డిపెండ్ అయి ఉంటాయి, బట్ నీ మైండ్ సెట్ ఇప్పుడు చేంజ్ అయి ఉండొచ్చు, రైట్? సో యూ ఆల్వేస్ లైక్ ఐ సెడ్, సో ప్యాటర్న్స్ అనేవి ఎప్పుడు చేంజ్ అవుతూ ఉంటాయి. సో ఓపెన్ మైండెడ్ గా ఉండి లైక్ ఇఫ్ యూ డెవలప్ దట్ ప్యాషన్ అండ్ ఇంట్రెస్ట్, ఇట్స్ వెరీ లైక్ ఈజీ థింగ్ టు లెర్న్ ఇన్ మై ఒపీనియన్, ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ అనేది.
Mani, there is a question from Vijay Kumar.
Okay.
I have applied for internship roles in Amazon career website, but I did not get any response.
యా, అది బేసిక్ గా అమెజాన్ వెబ్సైట్ ఏంటంటే లైక్ యూజువల్ గా లైక్ షూర్ లైక్ అగైన్ లైక్ వాళ్ళ ఫిల్టరింగ్ వేరే మెకానిజం ఉంటుంది, రైట్? సో బేస్డ్ ఆన్ ది లైక్ అవైలబుల్ ఓపెనింగ్ ఏమున్నాయో దాన్ని బట్టి వాళ్ళు చెక్ చేసి లైక్ దే ఇన్వైట్ ఫర్ లైక్ ఇంటర్వ్యూస్, రైట్? సో అది లైక్ యూ కెన్ యాక్చువల్లీ లైక్ ఫాలో అప్, లైక్ అందులో కాంటాక్ట్ ఉంటే లైక్ యూ కెన్ జస్ట్ లైక్ ఫాలో అప్ చేయొచ్చు కూడా. బ్యాక్ ఎండ్ ఇంజనీరింగ్ అని కంప్లీట్లీ లైక్ లైక్ చెప్పాను కదా, లార్జ్ స్కేల్ మిషన్ లెర్నింగ్ అప్లికేషన్ లో ఇంజనీరింగ్ ఆస్పెక్ట్స్ పైన నేను ఎక్కువ ఫోకస్ చేశా. యా, ఇట్స్ బ్యాక్ ఎండ్ రోల్.
Mani, what are the resources అని అడుగుతున్నారు.
రిసోర్సెస్ దేనికి స్పెసిఫిక్ టు వాట్? అంటే రిసోర్సెస్ దేనికి? కోడింగ్ ఇంటర్వ్యూ కా లేకపోతే లైక్ రెగ్యులర్ జాబ్ లో చేస్తారు?
Starcast, you can directly ask the question.
సో బేసిక్ గా రిసోర్సెస్ అనేవి అంటే ఇంటర్నెట్ లో యూ డోంట్ హ్యావ్ టు ఆస్క్ మీ, లైక్ ఐడియల్ గా ద థింగ్ ఈస్ లైక్ సాయి కూడా అదే చెప్పాడు కదా, దర్ లాట్ ఆఫ్ ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ ఇన్ ఇంటర్నెట్. లైక్ ఇఫ్ యూ డూ సింపుల్ గూగుల్ సెర్చ్ ఫర్ ఎనీథింగ్ విల్ గెట్ లైక్ లాట్ ఆఫ్ రిసోర్సెస్. సో ఎఫెక్టివ్ గా లైక్ ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ గ్యాదర్ చేయడం అనేది కూడా రియల్లీ ఇంపార్టెంట్ థింగ్. సో యూ గూగుల్ లైక్ మీకు ఏ క్వశ్చన్స్ లైక్ ఏ రిసోర్సెస్ కావాలన్నా లైక్ సెర్చ్ చేయండి. లైక్ ద లాట్ ఆఫ్ like results that you like Google లో బేసిక్ గా డిమాండ్ మోస్ట్ పాపులర్ లైక్ ఆర్టికల్స్ ఫస్ట్ వస్తుంటాయి కదా. సో యూ డూ సమ్ అనాలిసిస్ లైక్ ఎనీథింగ్ యూ హ్యావ్, లైక్ జస్ట్ నేను కూడా నాకు చాలా రియల్లీ హెల్ప్ అయింది. బేసిక్ గా ఇఫ్ యూ వాంట్ టు యాక్చువల్లీ లెర్న్ సంథింగ్ జస్ట్ డూ సమ్ అనాలిసిస్ బిఫోర్, డోంట్ లైక్ టేక్ అదర్స్ ఒపీనియన్. నేను ఒక రిసోర్స్ ఇచ్చిన ఇట్ మైట్ బి అవుట్డేటెడ్, బట్ ద కరెంట్ రీసెంట్ గా మీరే కలెక్ట్ చేసుకొని మీరే ఆ రివ్యూస్ చూసి మీరే ప్రియారిటైజ్ చేసుకోవాలి. ఎందుకంటే ఒక్కొక్క పర్సనల్ ప్రిఫరెన్స్ వేరే ఒకటి ఉంటుంది. నాకైతే ఫర్ ఇన్స్టెన్స్ దిస్ అంటే ఐ లైక్ రీడింగ్ బుక్స్, మోర్ రీడింగ్ దెన్ లైక్ వాచింగ్. సో యూజువల్ గా నాకు లైక్ ఆర్టికల్స్ కానీ లైక్ బుక్స్ కానీ ఎక్కువ చదివేవాడిని కాలేజ్ లో ఉండేటప్పుడు. వీడియోస్ తక్కువ వినేవాడిని. సో కొందరికి వీడియోస్ నచ్చుండొచ్చు. సో పర్సనల్ ప్రిఫరెన్స్ అవి మారుతూ ఉంటాయి. అది
Mani, how to crack GSOC like coding competitions?
How to crack? Can you repeat that?
How to crack GSOC like coding competitions?
Sorry, I couldn't.
Mani, Google Summer of Code basically, I think.
Google Summer GSOC. Okay. Google Summer of Code. Sai నీకు ఐడియా ఉందా? నాకు ఐడియా లేదు GSOC.
Actually, this is also same project resume based Mani. So actually నేను IIT లో చేసినప్పుడు నా ఫ్రెండ్స్ చాలా మంది అప్లై చేశారు. So they will do, it is kind of internship. So basically to get selected for that also you should have very fundamental very good resume and very strong fundamentals in computer science.
Yep. Is it related to Google Code Jam by any chance?
Google
Code Jam ki competitive programming
లేదు గూగుల్ సమ్మర్ ఆఫ్ కోడ్ ఇస్ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ ఇంటర్న్షిప్ అనమాట. యాక్చువల్గా ఓపెన్ సోర్స్ ప్రాజెక్ట్స్ కి కంట్రిబ్యూట్ చేయొచ్చు. గూగుల్ కోడ్ జామ్ ఇస్ లైక్ గూగుల్ రిక్రూట్మెంట్ కి. సో యాక్చువల్లీ ఇంకా వన్ అదర్ థింగ్ ఐ వాంటెడ్ టు ఎంఫసైజ్ ఇస్ లైక్ మేము నెక్స్ట్ ఫాలోఅప్ సెషన్ చేస్తున్నాము అబౌట్ లైక్ కాంపిటేటివ్ కోడింగ్ అండ్ గేట్ కానీ ఎంటెక్ ఎట్ ఐఐటీస్ కానీ టెక్ ఇంటర్వ్యూస్ కానీ వీటి గురించి ఒక ఫాలోఅప్ సెషన్ చేస్తున్నాం. సో యాక్చువల్లీ మేము చాలా క్వశ్చన్స్ వస్తున్నాయి మా దగ్గర నుంచి. సో అందుకని ఒక ప్రాపర్ ఫామ్ క్రియేట్ చేసాం. సో ఐ హోప్ మీరు ఆ లింక్ చూడగలుగుతున్నారు ఆ చాట్ సెక్షన్ లో. సో ప్లీజ్ ఫీల్ ఫ్రీ టు గో టు దట్ లింక్ అండ్ పోస్ట్ యువర్ క్వశ్చన్స్ దేర్, సో such that we will get enough feedback for our next session about this. Yeah. I think ఈ సెషన్ లో ఎక్కువ లైక్ కంపెనీస్ లో ఎలా ఉంటుంది, సో మేబీ దాని గురించి ఎక్కువ ఏదైనా డౌట్స్ ఉంటే we are happy to ask. లైక్ గేట్ కానీ లేదంటే మా ఎక్స్పీరియన్సెస్ కానీ వీటన్నిటి గురించి we wanted to give a more detailed presentation. So in the next session I think it will be even more helpful for you guys actually. అన్ని ఒకేసారి అక్కడ ఆన్సర్ చేయడం బెటర్ ఉంటుంది I feel.
Makes sense sir.
Yeah.
వర్క్ ప్రెషర్ లాంటిది ఏమైనా ఉంటుందా అంటే టైం లైన్స్ రీచ్ అయినప్పుడు?
అది బేసిక్ గా చేయొచ్చు. అగైన్ అది ఓవర్ ద టైమ్ యూ విల్ ఇంప్రూవ్ అన్నమాట ప్రాసెస్ లో. బట్ ప్రెజర్ అనేది లైక్ డిపెండ్స్ ఆన్ ది ఇండివిజువల్. లైక్ అది బేసిక్ గా కంపెనీస్, లార్జ్ కంపెనీస్ అన్ని కూడా ఏంటంటే దే ఆర్ ఆల్వేస్ వెరీ ఓపెన్ అబౌట్ లైక్ రిసోర్సెస్. లైక్ నువ్వు ప్రాపర్ గా ప్లాన్ చేసుకుంటే అది అవాయిడ్ చేయొచ్చు ప్రెజర్ అనేది. లైక్ ప్రాపర్ గా ప్లాన్ చేసుకొని నాకు ఇంతమంది ఇంజనీర్స్ కావాలి అంటే మేనేజర్స్ ఆర్ వెరీ ఓపెన్. బేసికలీ చాలా మేనేజర్స్, ఇంజనీర్స్ దే వర్క్ వెరీ క్లోజ్లీ ఫర్ ప్రాజెక్ట్ ప్లానింగ్, రైట్? సో యూ నీడ్ టు, నువ్వు బేసిక్ గా ఓవర్ గా ఎక్స్పెక్టేషన్ సెట్ చేయకుండా కరెక్ట్ గా ప్లాన్ చేస్తే లైక్ యూ కెన్ అవాయిడ్ దట్.
Yeah, I will answer this question from my angle. Actually నేను కంపెనీలో జాయి 6 months అయింది అంతే ఎగ్జాక్ట్లీ. సో మేబీ ఐ కెన్ సే దట్ ఐఎమ్ ఇన్ ఎర్లీ స్టేజ్. సో టైం ప్రెషర్ గురించి చెప్పాలంటే యాక్చువల్గా నువ్వు మీ మేనేజర్తో ఒక ప్రాపర్ సింక్ లో ఉంటే సరిపోతుంది. యాక్చువల్గా నువ్వు ఏం చేస్తున్నావు కరెంట్లీ డే టు డే, అది ఎంత టైం పడుతుంది. సో మేబీ ఇఫ్ దే గివ్ యూ ఎనీ డెడ్ లైన్స్ మేబీ యూ కెన్ యాక్చువల్లీ చాలా ఫ్రెండ్లీగా ఉంటారు. యూ కెన్ సే దట్ దిస్ విల్ టేక్ ఈవెన్ మోర్ టైం. సో ఇట్స్ ఆల్ అబౌట్ మ్యూచువల్ అండర్స్టాండింగ్. సో నేనైతే ఎటువంటి ప్రెషర్ ఫీల్ అవ్వలేదు అట్లీస్ట్ ఇన్ కంపెనీస్ లైక్ ఆరకిల్, మైక్రోసాఫ్ట్, గూగుల్, వాట్ ఎవర్ ప్రొడక్ట్ కంపెనీస్.
సో యూజువల్ గా ప్రొడక్ట్ బేస్డ్ కంపెనీస్ లో ఏంటంటే స్క్రమ్ చాలా కంపెనీస్ ఫాలో అవుతాయి. ఇన్ఫాక్ట్ స్టార్ట్అప్స్ కూడా ఫాలో అవుతాయి స్క్రమ్ మోడల్. సో యూజువల్ గా 2 weeks ఒకసారి ప్లానింగ్ చేస్తారు. 2-3 weeks కి ఒక స్ప్రింట్ క్రియేట్ చేసి అందులో ప్లాన్ చేస్తారు అంతా ఈ స్ప్రింట్ లో ఇవన్నీ చేస్తారని. సో కలెక్టివ్ గా డెసిషన్స్ లైక్ ఎస్టిమేట్స్ చేస్తారు ప్రతి ప్రాజెక్ట్ కి. అండ్ దెన్ స్క్రమ్ అయిన తర్వాత ప్రతి డైలీ స్టాండర్డ్స్ కూడా ఉంటాయి చాలా కంపెనీస్ లో. సో బేసిక్ గా ఇట్స్ లైక్ ముందు చెప్పాను కదా, మీరు అంత కాన్ఫిడెంట్ గా ఉండి అంత వోకల్ గా మీరు అంత బయటకు చెప్పగలుగుతున్నారో లైక్ హే ఈ టాస్క్ చేయడానికి ఇంత కాంప్లెక్సిటీ నేను స్పెండ్ చేశాను, ఎంత టైం ఇంత లైక్ ఇన్ని డీటెయిల్స్ నేను గ్యాదర్ చేశాను, లైక్ ఇట్ మైట్ టేక్ మోర్ టైం అని నువ్వు ఓపెన్ గా లైక్ ఇఫ్ యు ఆర్ వెరీ ఓపెన్ దెన్ యూ కెన్ మేనేజ్. సో అగైన్ ఇది ఒక ప్రాజెక్ట్ అనేది, ప్రాజెక్ట్స్ ఎప్పుడు వన్ మెన్ షో కాదు. లైక్ ఇట్స్ ఏ టీమ్ కలెక్టివ్ గోల్, రైట్? ఒక పర్సన్ పైన ఎవరు డిపెండెన్సీ పెట్టరు. అండ్ ఇట్స్ వెరీ లైక్ ఐ వుడ్ సే ఇట్స్ రిస్కీ ఆల్సో. ఒకే పర్సన్ పైన డిపెండ్ అయిపోయి ప్రాజెక్ట్ చేస్తే ఇట్స్ నాట్ ఎ గుడ్ థింగ్. బేసికలీ ఒక ప్రాజెక్ట్ అనేది యూజువల్ గా లైక్ ఇట్స్ ఓపెన్ ఫ్యాక్ట్, అమెజాన్ లో లైక్ 2 pizza టీమ్స్ ఉంటాయి. ఒక లైక్ 5 లైక్ ఒక టీమ్ 2 pizzas తినేంత సైజ్ లో ఉంటాయి అనమాట. సో ఆ టీం మొత్తం వర్క్ చేస్తుంది ప్రాజెక్ట్స్ పైన. ఇట్స్ నాట్ వన్ పర్సన్.
So there is a question from Manikanta. Sir, I am a second year student. On which I have to focus more? Machine learning, data structures, or algorithms?
యా, సో జనరల్ గా ఏంటంటే ఇది వెరీ కామన్ క్వశ్చన్. బేసిక్ గా ఫస్ట్ లో మీరు స్పెషలైజ్డ్ ఫీల్డ్స్ కి ఆల్రెడీ అప్పుడే వెళ్ళొద్దు. లైక్ ఐ వుడ్ సజెస్ట్ మీరు డేటా సైన్స్ లైక్ ఎప్పుడైనా ఏ కెరీర్ లో, ఇన్ఫాక్ట్ మీరు పిహెచ్డి రీసెర్చ్ చేసినా కూడా కోడింగ్ అండ్ ప్రాబ్లమ్ సాల్వింగ్ అనేది ఫండమెంటల్స్ ఆర్ వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్. సో లెట్స్ సే మీకు ఒక ఐడియా వచ్చింది అనుకోండి, లైక్ ఇన్ఫాక్ట్ సైన్స్ రిలేటెడ్ ఐడియా కానీ లేకపోతే ఎందులోనైనా యూ నీడ్ టు బి ఏబుల్ టు కోడ్ యువర్ ఐడియా, ప్రొటోటైప్ యువర్ ఐడియా, గెట్ రిజల్ట్స్, రైట్. అండ్ అది అందుకనే లైక్ బేసిక్ గా కోడింగ్ ప్రాబ్లమ్ సాల్వింగ్ కి హై ప్రియారిటీ ఇవ్వండి, అల్గారిథమిక్ ప్రాబ్లమ్ సాల్వింగ్ కి, కోడింగ్ కి. And then later in your 4th year, or like time limit ledu, once you are comfortable with coding problem solving, then you can actually enter into specialization. Basic ga endante it's like swimming raakunda samudrilo gintanattu anamata. Like if you just like focus on specialization since the beginning, right? Like you'll have the knowledge but you can't like prototype or implement your ideas. Daniki kavalsindi basic like good coding and then good problem solving. So ఈ రెండింటిపైన ఫోకస్ చేయండి. వన్స్ యూ రీచ్ వెరీ గుడ్ లెవెల్ ఫర్ దీస్ థింగ్స్, దెన్ యూ క్యాన్ యాక్చువల్లీ ఎంటర్ ఇంటూ స్పెషలైజేషన్. ఆల్సో అనదర్ థింగ్ ఏంటంటే కంపెనీస్ కి మిషన్ లెర్నింగ్ అనేది ఇట్స్ నాట్ ఎ రిక్వైర్మెంట్. మీరు ఇంజనీరింగ్ మొత్తం మీద అల్గారిథమ్స్ ప్రాబ్లమ్ సాల్వింగ్ బాగా ఫోకస్ చేసినా విల్ గెట్ లాట్ ఆఫ్ ఆపర్చునిటీస్. మిషన్ లెర్నింగ్ అనేది ఇట్స్ నాట్ ఎ రిక్వైర్మెంట్ ఫర్ మోస్ట్ ఆఫ్ కంపెనీస్. In fact, if you want, you can actually like do PhD or like masters in that specialization, right? And then if you want to learn, you can learn. Definitely it's an add-on, but it's not mandatory. And then in fact, like చాలా మంది ఇంజనీర్స్ nowadays ఏంటంటే జాబ్ చేస్తూ నేర్చుకుంటున్నారు. That is also good. Like you get more opportunities and then use it, but basics అనేవి very important. Yeah.
One more question is there. I think this can be answered by Sai Prasad. Can we crack GATE by doing self-preparation and the help of online sources like Geeks for Geeks, etc.?
యాక్చువల్లీ ఈ క్వశ్చన్ ఎలా ఆన్సర్ చేయొచ్చు అంటే, నేను గేట్ సిఎస్సికి ఎటువంటి కోచింగ్ సెంటర్స్కి వెళ్ళలేదు. అండ్ యాక్చువల్లీ నా గేట్తో పాటు నాకు మన క్యాంపస్లో ఉన్న ఆ టైంలో ఉన్న టాప్ కంపెనీ ఫ్రెష్ డెస్క్ అనేది అందులో కూడా నేను క్రాక్ చేయగలను. సో బేసికలీ క్వశ్చన్స్ అడుగుతారు లైక్ నేను జాబ్ ప్రిపరేషన్కి వెళ్ళాలా, గేట్ సిఎస్సికి వెళ్ళాలా, నాకు బీటెక్ అయిపోయేసరికి నాకు జాబ్ ఉంది అండ్ మోర్ ఓవర్ నాకు గేట్లో మంచి ర్యాంక్ ఉంది. అండ్ ఆన్ టాప్ ఆఫ్ దట్ నేను HDCSE ఇలాంటి వాటిలో కూడా నేను చాలా మంచి కీ రోల్ ప్లే చేశాను. సో ఐ థింక్ మనకున్న కాలేజ్లో మనకైతే ఈవినింగ్ 5 తర్వాత మనకి చాలా యాంపుల్ ఆఫ్ టైం ఉంటుంది. సో ఐ డోంట్ థింక్ దెర్ ఇస్ ఎనీ స్కై ఈజ్ ద లిమిట్, ఐ కెన్ సే. జస్ట్ వన్ ఆన్సర్. మీరు అన్నీ చేయొచ్చు యాక్చువల్గా. జస్ట్ దట్ మీకు రియల్గా ప్యాషన్ ఉంటే ఎనీథింగ్ ఈస్ పాసిబుల్ ఇన్ అవర్ కాలేజ్. యాక్చువల్లీ మనకి అంత ప్రెషర్ కూడా ఉండదు ఎగ్జామ్స్కి. లైక్ యాజ్ ఐ ఫీల్ లైక్ IITsలో అయితే నువ్వు ఒక ప్రాజెక్ట్ చేయాలంటే ఈజీలీ లైక్ 1 day బ్యాటింగ్, లేదంటే ఒక 2 daysలో చేస్తే అయ్యేది కాదు. ఇట్ విల్ టేక్ లైక్ ఈజీలీ వాట్ ఎవర్ డెడ్ లైన్ దే గివ్, ఇట్ విల్ డెఫినెట్లీ ఓవర్ షూట్ ద డెడ్ లైన్. సో మన క్యాంపస్లో అయితే స్టూడెంట్కి ఐ డోంట్ నో వెదర్ ఇట్ ఇస్ అ ఫార్చునేట్ but a student has the freedom with them, so you can do wonders.
So especially one point I just pandemic valla if a lot of people are like students are getting more time, మీరు ప్రాపర్ గా ఈ టైం యూటిలైజ్ చేసుకుంటే లైక్ రైట్ యూ కెన్, మీరు గేట్ ప్రిపేర్ అవుదామంటే గేట్, లైక్ లేకపోతే కోడింగ్ ప్రాబ్లమ్ సాల్వింగ్ ప్రిపేర్ అవుదామంటే అది, ఈ 2 areas లో ఏవైనా మంచి ఆప్షన్సే. లైక్ కానీ మీరు మీరు టైంని మాత్రం బాగా యూటిలైజ్ చేసుకోవాలి. ఎందుకంటే వన్స్ మీరు ఒక జాబ్ లో స్టార్ట్ అయిన తర్వాత మీకు అంత ఫ్రీ టైం ఉండదు నేర్చుకోవడానికి. అంటే ఉంటుంది, బట్ ఇట్స్ నాట్ లైక్ యుల్ బి లైక్ వర్క్ టాస్క్లు ఉంటాయి, అట్ ద సేమ్ టైం ఇది కూడా మీరు చేస్తూ ఉండాలి. మేనేజ్ చేయడం అనేది కొంచెం లైక్ ఎఫెక్టివ్ గా జరగకపోవచ్చు. సో అందుకని లైక్ ఇప్పుడు ఫ్రీగా ఉన్నప్పుడే లైక్ బేసిక్స్ అని స్ట్రాంగ్ అయిపోండి. అది నేను సజెస్ట్ చేస్తాను జనరల్ గా. ఇట్స్ అన్ ఆపర్చునిటీ ఇన్ మై ఒపీనియన్. అండ్ దెన్ ఆల్సో మిగతా బ్రాంచెస్ చూసినట్టయితే వాళ్ళకి లైక్ ఎక్కువ ల్యాబ్స్ అవన్నీ ఇంపార్టెంట్. కంప్యూటర్ సైన్స్ కి అలా కాదు. లైక్ ఇఫ్ యూ హ్యావ్ ఎ ల్యాప్టాప్, like you can get like you can like there are a lot of resources and then you can always like try and prototype or improve, right? So technical basic from resource like mentorship perspective మీకు limitations లేవు, everything is open, right? So time ని బాగా యూజ్ చేసుకోండి అనేది నేను పక్కా చెప్తాను.
Yeah, should I learn what the company needs or will they train me once I join?
బేసిక్ గా నేను చెప్పినట్టు కోడింగ్ ప్రాబ్లమ్ సాల్వింగ్ అవన్నీ కంపెనీ ట్రైన్ చేస్తుంది అంటే ఇట్స్ రాంగ్ అజంప్షన్. మీరు ఫండమెంటల్స్ లైక్ ఇవన్నీ కూడా ముందే నేర్చుకోండి. కంపెనీలో ఏంటంటే స్లోగా చిన్న టాస్క్లు ఇస్తూ లైక్ దే విల్ ఇంప్రూవ్ యూ. జనరల్ గా ప్రొడక్ట్ బేస్డ్ కంపెనీస్ లో అగైన్ కొన్ని కంపెనీస్ ట్రైనింగ్ ఇవ్వచ్చు, బట్ మోస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ద కంపెనీస్ దట్ ఐ నో దే డోంట్ గివ్ ఎనీ ట్రైనింగ్, ఫార్మల్ ట్రైనింగ్. లైక్ యూజువల్ గా ఏంటంటే మీకు టాస్క్స్ ఇచ్చేస్తారు, ఆల్రెడీ చిన్నవి ఇస్తారు, టాస్క్లు ఇచ్చి మీకు మెంటర్ని అసైన్ చేస్తారు. సో మెంటర్ కూడా బేసిక్ గా మీరు మెంటర్ని ఎఫెక్టివ్ గా యూజ్ చేసుకోవాలి స్టార్టింగ్ లోనే. ప్రతి సిల్లీ క్వశ్చన్స్ అడిగి అతన్ని టైం వేస్ట్ చేసేయకుండా లైక్ మీకు రిలవెంట్ మీ టాస్క్ రిలేటెడ్ ఎక్కువగా నేర్చుకొని మీ టీం గురించి మీ ప్రాజెక్ట్ గురించి వాటి గురించి తెలుసుకొని లైక్ ఎఫెక్టివ్ గా యూజ్ చేసుకుంటే హీ విల్ బి మోర్ కంఫర్టబుల్ ఇన్ లైక్ షేరింగ్ లైక్ లెర్నింగ్ షేరింగ్ థింగ్స్. బట్ ఇఫ్ దర్ ఇస్ ఎనీథింగ్ బేసికల్గా యూజువల్ గా ఇంజనీర్స్ నుంచి ఎక్స్పెక్ట్ చేసేది ఏంటంటే కెన్ హీ బి ఏబుల్ టు డీప్ డైవ్ given a problem, or can he be able to handle things independently as much as possible. సో ఆ రెండు థింగ్స్ అనేవి జనరల్ గా సాఫ్ట్వేర్ ఇంజనీర్ కి పక్కా అవసరం, ఎంట్రీ లెవెల్ సాఫ్ట్వేర్ ఇంజనీర్స్ కి. సో మీరు ఇండిపెండెంట్ గా నేర్చుకోవాల్సినవన్నీ ముందే నేర్చేసుకోండి. జాబ్ జాయిన్ అయిన తర్వాత ప్రాజెక్ట్ అండ్ ప్రొడక్ట్ వర్క్ రిలేటెడ్ లైక్ కంపెనీ స్పెసిఫిక్ టెక్నాలజీస్ యూ కెన్ లెర్న్ వన్స్ యూ జాయిన్ ద కంపెనీ. అందుకనే బేసిక్ గా సాయి కూడా ముందు చెప్పాడు కదా, లెట్స్ సే దెర్ ఆర్ లైక్ ప్రెసెంట్ 5 to 6 డిఫరెంట్ ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ లాంగ్వేజెస్ ఉన్నాయి, లైక్ లాట్ ఆఫ్ టెక్నాలజీస్ ఉన్నాయి. అవన్నీ మీరు నేర్చుకోవడంలో యూజ్ లేదు, ఎందుకంటే మీరు కంపెనీ జాయిన్ అయిన తర్వాత ఆ కంపెనీలో ఆ టీంలో లైక్ ఆ స్పెసిఫిక్ లాంగ్వేజ్ వేరే అయి ఉండొచ్చు. సో బేసిక్స్ అంటే బేసిక్ ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ లాంగ్వేజ్ నా ఒపీనియన్ లో ఏంటంటే 3 weeks లో నేర్చుకోవచ్చు. ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ లాంగ్వేజ్ 2-3 weeks లో నేర్చుకోవచ్చు. బేసిక్ డేటా స్ట్రక్చర్స్ అండ్ దెన్ ది బేసిక్ లైక్ కన్స్ట్రక్షన్ ఉంటాయి కదా, లూప్స్ అవన్నీ, లైక్ రికర్షన్ అవన్నీ నేర్చుకుంటే ఇట్స్ మోర్ దెన్ ఎనఫ్. బేసిక్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్ ఓరియంటెడ్ ప్రిన్సిపల్స్ అది చాలా, అవన్నీ నేర్చుకోవడానికి ఐ డోంట్ థింక్ ఇట్ విల్ టేక్ మోర్ దెన్ 2 to 3 weeks. సో అది నేర్చుకున్న తర్వాత మీరు కాంప్లెక్స్ లాజిక్ రాయడం బాగా నేర్చుకోవాలి. లైక్ ఎంత కాంప్లెక్స్ ఐడియాస్ అయినా యూ షుడ్ బి ఏబుల్ టు లైక్ కంఫర్టబుల్లీ రైట్. అవన్నీ కూడా ఏంటంటే మీరు ఇండిపెండెంట్ గా నేర్చుకోవాల్సినవి.
What do you say about CTF?
అది సైడ్ ఇట్స్ కరెక్ట్ మీ ఇఫ్ ఐఎమ్ రాంగ్, ఇట్స్ సైబర్ సెక్యూరిటీ రిలేటెడ్ కదా.
It's about capture the flight money, but we never talked about that. But I don't know why he's asking.
Yeah, is it like related to security?
Yeah, security. So basically, it's
Yeah,
like
the basic
they'll do manaki competitive coding ela untado. So actually capture the flight for the security folks. Basically, it's like one of the hiring event.
యా, సో సైబర్ సెక్యూరిటీ గురించి యాక్చువల్లీ మన కాలేజ్లో ఉన్నారు అల్యూమ్ని, లైక్ మంచి జాబ్లో ఉన్న వాళ్ళు. మేబీ ఐ థింక్ వీ కెన్ ఫాలో అప్ అండ్ దెన్ స్కెడ్యూల్ సపరేట్ సెషన్. మాకైతే అంత లైక్ డీటెయిల్స్ లేవు. సెక్యూరిటీ అనేది రియల్లీ ఇంపార్టెంట్ ఫర్ సాఫ్ట్వేర్ సిస్టమ్. కానీ అవి బేసిక్గా ఏంటంటే చాలా వరకు లైక్ ఒక ఆస్పెక్ట్ అయితే సాఫ్ట్వేర్ ఇంజనీరింగ్ లో ఒక ఆస్పెక్ట్ అది. ఇట్స్ నాట్ ది ఓన్లీ ఆస్పెక్ట్. లైక్ డిమాండ్ అనేది బేసిక్గా లైక్ యూ కెన్ రీచ్ అవుట్ టు దెమ్ ఫర్ మోర్ హెల్ప్. అగైన్ నేను చెప్పింది ఏంటంటే జనరిక్ గా ఉండడానికి ట్రై చేయండి యాజ్ మచ్ యాజ్ పాసిబుల్. ఎందుకంటే లైక్ ఫర్ మీ ఇఫ్ యూ గివ్ మీ ఆస్క్ మీ టు బిల్డ్ ఎ వెరీ సెక్యూర్ సిస్టమ్ ఆర్ లైక్ సెక్యూరిటీ రిలేటెడ్ ప్రాజెక్ట్ చేయమన్నా ఐ కెన్ లెర్న్ అండ్ డూ ఇట్ all the time. So effectively I can learn and then do it. So but the benefit that I'm getting by being open minded is that like I can work for any project or any company, or I can adapt to any situation. Adi a mentality like it's very important.
నేను ప్రోడక్ట్ డెవలప్మెంట్ కంపెనీలో బ్యాక్ డెవలపర్గా ఉన్నాను. జాంగో, పైథాన్, APIs నేర్చుకున్నాను. నేను అమెజాన్ కావాలంటే ఏమైనా స్పెసిఫిక్ టెక్నాలజీస్ నేర్చుకోవాలా, లేకపోతే వీటిని ఇంకో
Yes, ఆల్రెడీ చెప్పాను, స్పెసిఫిక్ టెక్నాలజీస్ ఏమీ అవసరం లేదు. యూ డోంట్ నీడ్ టు లెర్న్ ఎనీ స్పెసిఫిక్ లాంగ్వేజ్. ఇన్ఫాక్ట్ మీరు బేసిక్ లైక్ సి ఒక్కటి వచ్చి నేను ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ నాకు బాగా తోపి నేను ప్రాబ్లమ్ సాల్వింగ్ చాలా బాగా చేస్తాను అంటే దట్ ఈస్ ఫైన్. టెక్నాలజీస్ కి యాక్చువల్ గా ఎవరు ప్రిఫరెన్స్ ఎవరు, చాలా కంపెనీస్ ఎవరు, మేబీ కొన్ని స్టార్ట్అప్స్ కొన్ని స్పెషలైజ్ కంపెనీస్ ఇవ్వచ్చేమో కానీ లైక్ మైక్రోసాఫ్ట్, అమెజాన్, లైక్ ఆల్ like companies like big tech companies that I know, they don't actually give any preference to technology experience.
Yeah, okay, Mani. I think we'll end the session.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks to both Manikumar and Sai Prasad for your valuable time. You have given a great session and have also taken the pain and interest to address each and every question. Students, if you have any doubts and want to keep contact with the speakers, please post your questions in the link I have attached. We are also sharing it in all the student WhatsApp groups. So do share the video. We are also posting it on the YouTube today or tomorrow. Share it with all CSC students. And on the behalf of all students, I thank Mani and Sai Prasad once again. We would like to have your sessions more and more on CRI in the future. Thank you.
Thanks Ashit and CRI team members for giving me this opportunity.
Yeah, it's our pleasure actually to interact with our juniors.
Thank you.